Hello everybody and welcome to the final part of my Finding series. There were 3 parts, so our first part was finding calm, the second was finding courage, and today we are going to be looking at finding clarity. So if you haven't watched the other 2 parts, you can catch up on YouTube, or you can catch up inside my private Facebook group called Lead Your Way. Just head over to the guide section and it's all there for you. So if you don't know me, hi, my name is Emily Petty. I am the founder of Lead Your Way, and Lead Your Way is a movement, really, a group of women who desire to find fulfillment, joy, and just general happiness and success in their lives and careers. And I help you do that through one-to-one coaching, through group coaching, through my Lead Your Way community, through working with your teams. And because I believe that work should be enjoyable, work should be fulfilling, work should be impactful, work should enable us to grow, to meet amazing people, to achieve amazing things in our lives. And my vision is to help as many women as possible to do that, to grow in their careers, to find confidence as they either lead themselves or lead others. So that's just a little bit about Lead Your Way. If you want to find out more, please do drop me a line. I'm always happy to chat about how I can help you or your team. So, finding clarity. So today I'm going to share with you 3 sort of headline steps. So the first is all about the foundations, really. So I'll share those. Then we're going to look at space as the second step, and the third step is taking action. And I see there's a foundation behind that, behind finding clarity, and that is belief. It's a belief that you can find clarity. So just for sort of context, really, finding clarity might be in terms of your career. Where do I want to go? What's the next step for me in my life or my career? I'm confused, I'm in a muddle. So the opposite of clarity is being muddled or confused. Or you might need to find clarity in terms of the skills and the ability to solve a problem, a specific problem in the workplace, finding a solution to something. And I think often in our lives, we sort of feel lack of clarity, or another way to put it is sort of that sense of sort of struggle or tussle or ickiness or uncomfortable feelings is not a great place to be. But the way I've sort of started to see it, when you clean a mirror or a window, and you've got your window lean and you've got your duster, and you start and you start wiping the window, and you think you've done a really good job, and you step back and you look. I'm looking at my window that often does need cleaning because I have a dog whose nose rubs up against the window. And you look back and go, oh gosh, there's still loads and loads of smudges, and you need to kind of almost keep going until you refine it. And sometimes you have an area that looks clean and you go over it again and then it smudges again. So for me, finding clarity is a sort of an iterative process. And there might be times where you get that glimpse of the beautiful clean window and then it blurs over again. And I just want to sort of reassure you that that's completely normal. That's part of the process of finding clarity. So as we start, to not see it as a linear process, but to see it as a cyclical process that you might need to keep iterating and keep working through. So just sort of a bit of sideline there. But the foundation is belief. So you have to believe that you can solve the problem. You have to believe that you can find clarity. So I'm not going to go into that, but a lot of my other content talks about belief and identifying our limiting beliefs and our limiting assumptions. So if actually deep down you want to find clarity in an area, but the truth is you don't actually believe that it's possible. You don't actually believe that you have the skills, the ability, the knowledge, the experience to solve a problem. You don't actually believe that it's possible for you to do the thing that you want to do. So that's the foundation. So if you sort of feel you're a bit rocky on that, please have a look at some of my other content, which really speaks a lot more to belief. So The foundation above that, I've got two foundations here, is around vision and purpose and our values. So vision is actually, what do you want to achieve? Where do you want to get to? What do you desire? And often I think we don't have clarity because we don't actually answer that question. Where do we want to get to? So in a coaching conversation, we always start with the goal, we start with the vision. And often as you start to unpick that and actually ask where you want to get to, it's not maybe where you think you want to get to. So getting to the nub of where do you actually want to get to? What is your vision? So clarifying your vision is really, really key, because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get clarity on how you're going to get there. And then purpose, so our why. So why do you want to get there? Why does it matter? Because when it is hard, when things get difficult, if we don't know our why, we will give up. So ask yourself why. Why do I want to get there? What really matters to me? What's important? Why does it matter? So Simon Sinek is the sort of the guru of the why. He sort of owns why, but in his book, which is something why, he goes into much more detail of this, but he shows a diagram with why in the middle and then the how and the what. And often we go to the how first, and actually the how is not going to work if you don't know your why first. So get to the why before you go to the how and the what. And then your values. So what matters most? When we are acting in a line with our values, we find clarity. So values help you make better decisions. So if right now you don't know your values, drop me a line. I can send you a values workbook which will help you identify your values. And one of the really, really quick ways you can do this, which is in the workbook, is just to reflect on, when have you been happiest at work? What did it feel like? Who was there? What were you experiencing? What was going on for you when you were happiest at work? And then do the same thing for when perhaps you were frustrated or demotivated or not happy. What was going on? Who were you with? What were you doing? And as you reflect on those two scenarios, you start to see a commonality between the positive and the negative. So the negative would be anti-values, but you can always flip an anti-value into a value. So for me, when I was really happiest at work, I had a lot of autonomy. I had freedom to make decisions. I was collaborating. I had variety. So you can start to see some of my values might be coming through doing that exercise. Also remember, we change over time. So thinking about your values, it's really worth doing that as a regular exercise to review your values over time. So that's the foundation. So really getting clear on your vision, on your purpose, so that's your why, and your values, and that's your what matters most. So that's the first step, your foundations. Then my second step, I've just generically called it space, and space is my word for the year, because actually you're never going to find clarity if you keep just being busy doing stuff, if you don't give yourself space to think. So in society, we have just seemed to have eliminated the opportunity to think. So everything else is crowding us. We've got our phones, we've got podcasts, there's no room or space or capacity to think. So thinking about how can you create space to think. So that's space to think for yourself. It might be space to think through a conversation, it might be through a coaching conversation. And the way we can create space, so one is through connection. So deliberately having conversations that allow space to think, that allow you to listen to somebody who's maybe more experienced than you or has a diversity of thought that enables you to sort of come out of yourself. And how are you connecting with people, and how are your relationships enabling you to find that space to think? And then the second aspect is space, literally physical space. So are you spending all day, every day in the same room, in the same environment with the same routine? What can you do to change your environment to, as you change your environment, you'll get stimulated, you'll have different ideas. So I'm terrible with, I love my dog walk, but I am quite terrible with doing the same walk, the same trees, the same path, the same bit of rubbish that I see every day on the pavement. Actually challenging myself to I'm going to try a different route now, I'm going to go down a different street, because that will change my perspective, and I often associate a lot of my thoughts with the location that I thought that thought. So thinking about your space, and is there time in your diary, in your work diary, and I'd really encourage you to give yourself permission in your work diary to find clarity. So if you're finding clarity on a problem that needs to be solved, put that time in your diary, because otherwise it will get blocked out, it will get moved. So give yourself space to think. And a lot of that space is around curiosity. So as I say, being in different environments, meeting different people, learning new perspectives helps you to sort of stretch that part of your brain, which will help you to find clarity. And that space to wrestle with ideas, to sit with the discomfort. So it's not always that comfortable not having the answer. And sometimes it's really easy to just jump on an answer that we think is the solution. So I've got an example which is sort of way back when. So I did a degree in history of art, and I did a dissertation. And during the Easter holidays, just before, sort of 3 or 4 weeks before the deadline, I went on holiday with my parents. They offered to pay for a holiday, so I thought, well, why not? But I was obviously a little bit anxious and stressed. So we were talking about my dissertation, talking about the content, and I was saying, you know, I've done all the reading, but I can't put it into a plan, and I just don't know where to begin to sort of write it up. And what I did was spend a lot of time sort of semi-arguing with my father, as I was trying to explain my thinking, I suppose. But it was that conversation that just unlocked clarity for me. My dear dad was so patient with me, because he just allowed the space for me to go, no, I don't mean that. He said, well, what do you mean? And we kept working through it until I finally got to the crux of what I wanted to say. And I did really, really well in my dissertation. And I really owe that to that conversation. And I think if I hadn't had that time doing that, which didn't feel like work because I wasn't at a computer typing stuff out, if I hadn't had that conversation, I wouldn't have put the structure that I put in. And I found my dissertation recently, and I read the comments, and there was just one chapter that I hadn't quite refined. And if I had refined the structure of that chapter a little bit more, I would have got a first. And that would have been the first time I would have ever got a first or an A or anything like that in my life. So I just use that as a really powerful example that finding clarity comes from getting a different perspective, and for me that did involve going on holiday. So yeah, maybe the permission for finding clarity comes from going on holiday and having conversations. So that's the second stage, or the second step in finding clarity. And then of course the final step is to act, is to take action. So you know, if you're thinking about career development, so you know that you want to move on, you want to step up in your career, but you don't know where or what, get curious, find the space. But if you don't take action, if you don't have a conversation with somebody, if you don't write up your CV, if you don't speak to an agency, if you don't practice or learn new skills, you're not taking action. And actually what you desire, where you want to get to, that first piece around your vision, will never come about. So action is absolutely key, but with the foundations of the vision and the purpose and the values, and the creating space before you act. Like I say, if I'd written a dissertation before I'd done those other things, I wouldn't have done so well. And when we act, it's also really important to get feedback and reflect. So either self-feedback or to get feedback from others and then reflect. So there's a concept called flow, and the key part of flow is to get feedback. And when we get feedback and we then seek to learn and we go through this loop, rather, remember, it's not a linear process, that's where we have impact. That's where we learn, that's where we grow, that's where we start to clean the mirror and get clarity. So being really clear that it's a cycle is really, really helpful, and having the confidence to learn and to iterate. And that's okay. So sometimes I think in my life I've felt, and I see this in a lot of people that I work with, you know, at the end of the coaching, you know, maybe we have 3 sessions over 3 months or 6 sessions over 3 months. You know, there's an expectation that we've sort of, you know, necessarily sort of grown somewhere, as I say, in a linear way, but actually we're refining. It's a constant process of refining as we go through these cycles, whatever cycle it might be, whether it be finding clarity, whether it be finding courage or finding calm. And the 3 work together, because when we get clarity, when we take action, we start to find calm and we start to find courage. So they work beautifully together to achieve the things that you might desire. And along the way, you are feeling calm, you are finding courage and confidence, and you are finding clarity. And the final point I want to speak to is around habits. So in order to make that change, we have to keep remembering to do the stuff. And I want to ask, you know, what things do you do on autopilot that don't serve you? Sort of what habits have you been sort of trained to do from your sort of computer side of your brain that means that you just keep doing the same thing again and again? And really what we want to do is break that cycle in order to find clarity. And what habits can you form to help you find clarity? So thinking about belief as that foundation, thinking about your vision and your purpose and your values. What can you do there to build in that foundation around your vision, your purpose and values? And what habit can you form to help you create space? What do you need to do to change your routine, your diary, how you do things, to help you find clarity? So I always forget to say, you know, if you're watching live or watching on the replay, please do comment, because I'd love to hear where you're not clear, where you're finding lack of clarity, and what clarity would look like for you, where you desire to get to when it comes to clarity. And then whether these steps are helpful and which habit change you are going to make to move forward with clarity. So thank you for watching the Finding series. So we started with finding calm and then finding courage and now finding clarity. If you desire that in your life, if you desire to be calm, if you desire to walk with courage and confidence and find clarity, to go, have the confidence to go through those circles and iterate, then I am available to support you in a number of ways. I would love to support you with one-to-one coaching. I have a number of offers, whether that's like a power hour to just unlock a specific challenge, or whether actually you want to work with me over a period of time and we can help you build that confidence over time. I also run group coaching programs, and my most exciting thing that I am doing at the moment is in March I am holding a day for women to come to be together, to find that calm, to grow in confidence and courage, and to get clarity for your life, for your career, for your next steps, for anything that you need to help you find that fulfillment in your life. That is on Friday the 24th of March, and it's I think £150 or £154 for the day. So just like an amazing value to be in my company. I've got an amazing lady who's coming to do some creative work with us. You will meet some of the most wonderful women that I have been working with over the past 2 or 3 years. And we will get a chance to spend time together, spend time in nature, get support, to be coached, and to help you find the clarity that you need in your life and career. So if you believe that 2023 is going to be a year that you make change, a year that you break some of those habits that have been holding you back, then drop me a line, and I would love for you to join me on Deep Rooted on Friday. Join me for Deep Rooted on Friday the 24th of March. And please do get in touch if you feel that actually the steps that I've shared will be really helpful to work through on a one-to-one basis. You can join me for some one-to-one coaching or join a group coaching program. So I hope you have a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.